Hi everyone. My name is Emily Carter, and I'm 26 years old, from Frisco, Texas, just a short drive north of Dallas, in one of those polished suburban areas with manicured lawns, community pools, and strict HOA rules. What you're about to hear is how my mother-in-law, Barbara, turned my marriage into a living nightmare, and how I quietly gathered evidence until I could expose her and take back everything she tried to control. I never saw myself as the vengeful type. But when someone poisons your home and your future, you have to fight back. If you're ready for toxic family drama, secret recordings, and real karma, subscribe now. Hit the bell, and let's dive in. Jake and I got married 3 years ago, in a beautiful outdoor ceremony near Lake Louisville. We met at UT Dallas. He was in energy management. I was studying marketing. He was tall, confident, with that Texas drawl that made everything sound charming. His family had money from oil investments. His dad passed when Jake was young, leaving Barbara in charge of the trust. She welcomed me at first, big hugs, welcome to the family, sugar, and even helped with our down payment on the Frisco house. Our home was a 4-bedroom McMansion, open kitchen, big backyard, space for kids we planned someday. I worked in marketing for a tech startup in Plano Remote, most days, good salary, loved the independence. Jake climbed at his oil company downtown Dallas, long hours but good pay. Life felt perfect. But Barbara's help came with claws. It started subtle. She'd drop by unannounced with Tupperware of her famous chicken casserole. "Emily, dear, you work so much, let me help with dinner." Then the comments, "That blouse is cute, but maybe something more modest for church." Or, "Why do you need such a big office? Jake's the breadwinner." I brushed it off. Jake always said, "Mom's old school, Em. She means well," but it got worse. At our first family Thanksgiving, she pulled me into the kitchen. "Honey, Jake needs a wife who puts home first. Career girls burn out fast." I smiled politely. Inside, I felt small. She began gifting more new furniture, landscaping, even covering my car note once. Strings attached. "I just want the best for my boy. Maybe rethink that job." She started dictating party guest lists, her church friends, holiday plans, her house only. Even nursery ideas. "I have my mother's antique crib, perfect for grandbabies." Jake sided with her. "Mom's excited about family. Em, don't fight it." But her words cut deeper. "Emily's too headstrong. She'd tell relatives. Not traditional wife material. At a 4th of July BBQ, loud enough for everyone. Some girls marry for money and keep working anyway. Gold diggers." I paid half the mortgage. My blood boiled. Anxiety built. Sleepless nights. I loved Jake, but the constant judgment suffocated me. Then came the big ultimatum. Last Christmas Eve, after dinner at her Plano mansion, Barbara cornered me by the fireplace. "Emily, I bought the house next to mine for you and Jake. A new beginning. But only if you quit your job and focus on family. I won't fund a marriage where my son plays second fiddle to a career." Jake nodded. "It could work. Em, Mom's generous." My stomach dropped. Quit. Move under her thumb. No way. That night in our guest bathroom, tears came. But tears turned to fire. I wasn't losing my life to her. I needed proof, real, undeniable proof. I ordered a small voice-activated recorder, disguised as a USB charger, and started capturing everything. Visits, phone calls on speaker, insults, texts, quit or the help stops. Recordings of her telling Jake, if she won't change, maybe find someone who will. The evidence grew. So did my plan. The ultimatum at Christmas changed everything. Barbara's offer to buy us the house next door wasn't generosity, was a leash. Quit my job, move to her neighborhood, Become her perfect doll of a daughter-in-law. No. I loved Jake, but I wasn't going to erase myself for her approval. I kept recording. Every interaction with Barbara got captured. One Sunday brunch at her Plano mansion, she cornered me in the sunroom while Jake was outside grilling. Recorder on. Emily, you're wasting your potential on that little job. Jake needs a wife who supports him, not competes. If you don't quit soon, I'll have to rethink the financial help for your house. It's my family's money, after all. I nodded calmly, said, I hear you, Barbara, and left the room. Later, the audio was crystal clear, her voice dripping with condescension. Texts piled up too. She'd send Jake messages, copied to me. Tell Emily to stop working late. It's not ladylike. Or direct to me. The house payment is due. Remember who helped make it possible. I saved screenshots, forwarded them to my private email, and stored them in an encrypted folder labeled Work Files 2025. Jake never noticed. The emotional toll hit hard. I'd come home from meetings exhausted, only to find Barbara's car in our driveway. Announced again. She'll rearrange my kitchen cabinets for better flow, or criticize my decor. This modern stuff is so cold. A real home needs warmth, like mine. I'd smile, thank her, then cry in the shower after she left. Jake started echoing her more. Mom has a point, Em. With her help, we could have kids sooner. You could stay home. I felt trapped. My marketing job was my identity campaigns I loved, colleagues who respected me, a paycheck that was mine. But the pressure mounted. Barbara even started helping with my wardrobe. Gifts of conservative dresses, pearl earrings. To look more like a Carter wife. One night, after a family dinner, she pulled Jake aside. I pretended to go to the bathroom but left the recorder running in my purse nearby. Her voice, son, if Emily won't step up, maybe it's time to consider options. I know a nice girl from Church Suite, traditional. You deserve better than someone who puts work first. Jake's reply was weak. Mom, I love Em. But yeah, it's frustrating. My heart shattered listening back later. That was the breaking point. I wasn't just dealing with a pushy Millie, was facing sabotage. She was planting seeds for Jake to leave me. I needed more than recordings. I needed a plan. I researched Texas divorce laws quietly. Community property state. Assets split 50/50ths, but if I proved financial coercion or emotional abuse, I could argue for more, like keeping the house or spousal support. Barbara's gifts were documented as loans in some emails. I saved those too. I confided in my best friend, Sarah, from work. No one in Jake's circle. This is abuse. Document everything. Get a lawyer before she convinces him to cut you out. She connected me with a family law attorney in Dallas, Maria Gonzalez, known for handling high-conflict in-law cases. I booked a confidential consult. Maria reviewed my files. This is coercive control. The help with money and the house creates leverage. If you divorce, we can trace contributions. Your salary paid half the mortgage, so equity is joint. Recordings help for temporary orders or mediation leverage. But don't confront yet. Build the case. I left her office with hope. No more victim. I started small acts of protection, separate bank account for my direct deposits, updated passwords, a P.O. box for mail. I even began freelancing side gigs under a different name extra cushion. Barbara ramped up. At Easter brunch, she announced, Jake and Emily will be moving closer soon. Emily's quitting to focus on family. In front of 20 relatives. I froze. Jake didn't correct her. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, and recorded my own shaky breathing. That audio later became evidence of public humiliation. The rage built. Barbara thought she owned us. She was wrong. I was going to expose every lie, every insult, every manipulation. And when I did, she'd lose the control she cherished most. With Maria's advice ringing in my ears, build the case quietly, I turned recording into a daily habit. The disguised USB charger stayed plugged in the living room outlet. A second one in my car for phone calls on speaker. I labeled them office supplies if Jake ever asked. He never did. Barbara's visits became more frequent. She'd text Jake first, coming over with lunch, tell Emily to take a break. Then arrive with bags of food and unsolicited advice. One afternoon, she sat at our kitchen island while I worked on my laptop. Recorder running. "Emily, that promotion you're chasing. It's going to make you miss the important things. Jake told me you're stressed. Maybe scale back." I replied neutrally. "I'm managing, Barbara." She sighed dramatically. "Managing? Honey, real wives don't manage, they nurture. If you keep this up, Jake might need someone who understands family priorities." The audio captured it, all her tone condescending, the implication clear. I saved the file as brunch 04-15.mp3 in my encrypted Dropbox. Texts followed. "Jake, Emily's job is taking a toll. Talk to her," he showed me, exasperated. "Mom's worried about you." I smiled. She's always worried. Inside, I seethed. The financial strings tightened. Barbara had been depositing gifts into our joint account, $2,000 here, $5,000 there for house improvements. But emails from her lawyer, she CC'd me once for transparency, reframed them as advances on inheritance with vague repayment terms. I printed them, highlighted the coercion. Maria loved that. This shows control, not generosity. Good leverage. I started tracking everything. Bank statements, showing her transfers versus my salary deposits, mine always larger for mortgage. Photos of gifts, like the new patio furniture she insisted on. Recordings of her saying, "I paid for that backyard, redo it's my taste, so keep it that way." The humiliation peaked at Easter. Family brunch at her house, 30 people, long table, deviled eggs, ham, the works. Barbara stood up with a glass of sweet tea. "Jake and Emily have exciting news. They're moving closer to me." Soon Emily's stepping back from work to focus on family. Smiles and claps. I froze. Jake looked uncomfortable but didn't correct her. I stood up slowly. "Actually, that's not decided." Silence. Barbara's smile faltered. "Emily, dear, we discussed this." I left the room, recorder still on in my pocket. Later, in the car. "Jake, you embarrassed Mom." I snapped quietly. "She embarrassed me in front of everyone. Announcing my decision without asking." He sighed. "She means well." That night, I listened to the recording, her announcement, the awkward pause, my voice shaking. It was gold public humiliation on tape. I met Maria again. She reviewed the new files. "This is strong for emotional distress claims. If divorce happens, we can seek exclusive use of the house during proceedings. Her gifts aren't clean coercion, voids some claims. But we need more. Proof she's influencing Jake to leave." I planned the first confrontation, carefully, not explosive, but calculated. One evening, Barbara came over to help with dinner. I sat her down in the living room, recorder hidden. Jake was at work late. "Barbara, we need to talk about boundaries." She raised an eyebrow. "Boundaries? Sweetie, I'm family." I played a clip, her voice from Christmas. "Quit, or the help stops." Her face paled. "That's private." I continued. "You've been controlling our finances, our decisions, even trying to push Jake away from me. It stops now." She laughed nervously. "You're overreacting. I just want the best." I showed texts. If she won't change, she stood up. "This is ridiculous." Jake will hear about this. She stormed out. Jake came home to her tearful call. He confronted me. Mom's upset you, accused her. I stayed calm. I showed her the truth. She's been manipulating us. He didn't believe me fully. You're being paranoid, Em. But the seed was planted. Barbara backed off temporarily, fewer visits, colder texts. I knew she was regrouping. I kept building. More recordings, financial trails, witness statements from Sarah about overheard comments. The evidence was solid. The plan. A family meeting with everything out. Expose her in front of relatives. Force Jake to choose. And if he chose wrong, walk away with my charade more. The Easter brunch fallout lingered like smoke. Barbara stopped her surprise visits, but the damage was done. Jake grew distant late nights at work, short conversations, sleeping on the couch more often. He started echoing her phrases. Mom's just trying to help. Em, why are you so defensive? I didn't argue. I recorded those too. I met Maria weekly now. She compiled my evidence into a binder. 50 audio clips transcribed key parts. Screenshots, bank records, showing my contributions versus Barbara's loans, emails, texts. This shows a pattern of coercive control and alienation, Maria said. If divorce comes, we can seek a protective order, spousal support, and exclusive possession of the house during proceedings. Texas courts take financial coercion seriously. I prepared for the big move, a family meeting at Barbara's Plano house. I invited Jake's aunt, his dad's sister, who disliked Barbara's control, 2 cousins, and his grandmother, the matriarch. Neutral ground. Know her turf, but with witnesses. I told Jake, we need to talk about boundaries as a family. Everyone's coming. He agreed reluctantly. The night arrived. Barbara's dining room table, set with crystal and silver, roast beef and pecan pie. Everyone seated. Barbara smiled sweetly. What a nice family gathering. I waited until dessert. Then I stood. Barbara, Jake, everyone, thank you for coming. I have something to share. I connected my phone to the Bluetooth speaker. First clip played. Christmas ultimatum. Quit your job, or the help stops. Gasps. Barbara's face froze. That's edited, she hissed. Next, Easter brunch announcement. Emily's quitting to focus on family. Aunt Linda. You said that without asking her, Barbara stammered. I was excited. I played more, her calling me gold digger. Suggesting Jake find someone traditional. The if she won't change text to Jake. Silence fell. Jake looked pale. Grandmother spoke first. Barbara, this is shameful. You've been meddling too long. Barbara stood, voice shrill. This is an attack. Emily's twisting everything. She's ungrateful. I stayed calm. These are your words, Barbara. Recorded honestly. You've controlled our finances, our decisions, even tried to push Jake away from me. It ends tonight. Jake finally spoke. Mom, is this true? She teared up. I just wanted the best for you. He looked at me, conflicted. Aunt Linda. Barbara, you've overstepped. Emily deserves respect. Cousins nodded. I laid it out. I won't quit my job. We won't move next door. The house is joint property. Texas law says so. If this continues, I'll protect myself legally. I handed Jake a copy of the binder summary, no full evidence yet. Vorge. Read it. Decide. Barbara exploded. You think you can threaten me? I'll cut off all support. I smiled. Do it. We've managed without your strings. The room erupted arguments, Barbara crying, grandmother telling her to hush. Jake pulled me aside later. I didn't know it was this bad. I whispered. You chose not to see. Now choose. He didn't answer. The meeting ended in chaos. Barbara stormed to her room. Relatives hugged me, goodbye supportive Aunt Linda. You've got backbone, girl. Don't let her win. Back home, Jake slept on the couch again. I knew the exposure had cracked her facade. But she wasn't done. The next day, she called Jake. Tell Emily to apologize or I'll sue for the money I gave. He told me. I laughed. Let her try. It's coercion, not gifts. I filed for legal separation. The next week, temporary orders for exclusive house use, spousal support pending divorce. Maria served papers. Barbara received them at her door, her perfect image shattered. Jake started therapy, my condition. Slowly, he saw the manipulation. Barbara tried one last play, showing up with tears, begging forgiveness. I recorded it. Emily, I was wrong. Please don't do this. But the damage was irreversible. The exposure was just beginning. The real fallout. Coming soon. The family meeting aftermath hit like a Texas thunderstorm. Barbara didn't go quiet. She went nuclear. First, the calls started. Barbara rang Jake daily, sobbing. Your wife is ruining our family. She's lying about me. Jake listened, conflicted. He told me, Mom says you edited the recordings. I played the full files for him, no edits. He sighed. I believe you, but she's my mom. I replied calmly. She's trying to divide us. Don't let her. Then came the texts to relatives. Emily's out of control, threatening me with lies. Aunt Linda messaged me privately. Barbara's spreading rumors. We're on your side. Grandmother called Jake. Son, your mother crossed a line. Support your wife. Barbara lost allies fast. She escalated legally. A letter from her attorney arrived certified mail to our house. I filed for divorce the next week. Grounds: irreconcilable differences, but with motion for temporary orders exclusive use of Frisco house. Spousal maintenance, $3,000 month pending, and restraining order against Barbara's harassment. Maria added, we'll seek to freeze her gifts as marital debt. Papers served. Barbara got them at her door again. Her reaction, rage. She showed up at our house uninvited, banging on the door. I had Ring camera on. Open up, Emily. This is my son's house. I didn't answer. She yelled, you'll regret this. Video saved harassment evidence. Jake was at work. He came home to her voicemail. Your wife locked me out, call me. Jake confronted me. Mom's losing it. I showed the video. That's harassment. She can't come here anymore. He finally agreed to a temporary no-contact order. Barbara violated it twice, more voicemails, drive-by. Police warning issued. Her perfect image cracked. Financially, she tried freezing our joint account, called the bank, claiming fraud. Bank froze it temporarily. Maria filed emergency motion. Unilateral freeze violates community property. Judge granted unfreeze plus my access only for bills. Barbara lost control of the money. Jake moved out temporarily to a friend's apartment in Dallas. I need space to think. It hurt, but I understood. I kept the house, Luna, our rescue dog, and my job. Freelance side gigs grew extra income buffer. Barbara's final play, family intervention. She invited everyone to her house for reconciliation. Jake went, I said no. He came back shaken. Mom cried, said she was just protecting me. But Aunt Linda called her out. You tried to break them up. Grandmother sided against her. Barbara, apologize or lose your son. Barbara refused. The divorce mediation started. Barbara attended with her lawyer, demanding repayment plus custody of family heirlooms furniture she gifted. Maria presented the binder, recordings, texts, financial trails. Mediator. This looks like coercion. Settle or court exposes everything. Barbara paled. Jake, in therapy, started seeing the manipulation. He messaged me. I was blind. I'm sorry, I replied. Prove it in mediation. The storm peaked. Barbara's counterattack failed. Her threats backfired. Evidence mounted. Allies turned. Legal leverage shifted to me. I wasn't just surviving. I was winning. Mediation day arrived like a courtroom showdown in a bad TV drama. We met in a neutral conference room downtown Dallas, glass walls, long table, mediator in the middle. Maria sat beside me, binder open. Barbara arrived with her lawyer, pearls tight around her neck, eyes red from crying or anger. Jake sat between us, neutral, or trying to be. He looked exhausted. Mediator started. This is voluntary. Goal is settlement. Let's hear opening statements. Maria went first. Emily seeks equitable division, spousal maintenance, and exclusive house use. Evidence shows coercive control by Barbara, financial manipulation, emotional alienation. She played key clips. Ultimatum, gold digger comment, Easter announcement. Barbara shifted uncomfortably. Her lawyer countered. Mrs. Carter denies coercion. Gifts were voluntary. Emily's recordings are invasive privacy violation. Barbara nodded vigorously. Mediator. Texas is one-party consent for recordings in home. They're admissible. Let's review finances. We presented bank records. My salary covered 55% of mortgage, utilities, groceries. Barbara's gifts totaled $85,000, but came with demands. Maria. These aren't gifts, they're conditional loans to control behavior. Barbara's lawyer. No written agreement means gifts. Mediator frowned. Coercion evidence weakens that claim. Jake spoke quietly. I want fair division. Emily worked hard. Mom, you overstepped. Barbara gasped. Jake. He continued. The recordings are real. You tried to push me away from her. Barbara teared up. I was protecting you. Mediator paused. Emotional testimony noted. Barbara broke. She stood, voice cracking. Emily, I just wanted the best for my son. You were always so independent, too busy for family. I thought, if you quit, you'd be happier. I stayed calm. You tried to erase my career, my identity. You humiliated me publicly. That's not love, it's control. She sobbed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. But her lawyer whispered, don't admit fault. Mediator proposed settlement. House to Emily, buy out Jake's share with equity. Spousal support, $2,500 month, for 2 years. No repayment of gifts. No contact order for Barbara. Jake agreed. Barbara resisted. The house is family legacy. Mediator. It's community property. Court would likely rule the same, with possible sanctions for coercion. She signed reluctantly, tears streaming. Post-mediation, Jake and I talked in the parking lot. I was wrong. I let her influence me too much. I nodded. Therapy helped. Yeah. I want to try again if you'll have me. I said. We'll see. First, boundaries with your mom. He agreed. Barbara's breakdown continued. She called Jake begging. Don't leave me out of your life. He set limits. Mom, no more interference. Or we go no contact, she cried, but complied for now. I kept the house, my job, my independence. Freelance grew, new clients, side hustle income. I started a private support group online for women dealing with toxic in-laws. Anonymous at first, then real names. Stories poured in. I felt powerful. Divorce finalized quietly. No trial settlement held. Barbara lost her grip. She sold her big house to Lonely, moved to a smaller condo in Frisco. Last I heard, she was in therapy to grandmother's insistence. Karma didn't need fireworks. It needed evidence, courage, and time. I walked away stronger, richer, in self-respect, and free. The divorce papers were signed. The house was mine, and Barbara's influence was finally broken. I stood in the Frisco kitchen, my kitchen brewing coffee in the quiet morning light. No more unannounced visits, no more criticism, no more suggestions, just me. Luna curled at my feet, and a future I controlled. Jake and I tried reconciliation for a few months. Therapy helped him see how Barbara's manipulation had poisoned our marriage. We dated again, diners in uptown Dallas, walks around White Rock Lake, but the trust was cracked. One night, he said, I love you, but I need to be alone to figure myself out. I agreed. No anger, no drama. We parted as friends. He moved to an apartment in Addison, started his own therapy, and kept his distance from Barbara. My globe started small. I kept my marketing job, but negotiated a raise, my boss said. You've got fire lately. Side freelance gigs turned into a small business, Emily Carter Creative, specializing in brand campaigns for Texas startups. First client was a local oil tech company, ironic, but paid well. Income doubled in 6 months. I upgraded the home office, bought new furniture, my taste, no Barbara-approved antiques, and turned the guest room into a content studio. I started an anonymous Instagram, at Texas Wife No More - posts about boundaries, self-worth, toxic in. Followers grew fast, women sharing stories, men apologizing for enabling. I went public after a year. I'm Emily. This is my story. Financially, I thrived. The house equity was all mine after buyout. Savings grew, no more help strings. I paid off the car, started a 401k max out, even invested in a small rental condo in Plano, revenge on Barbara's legacy obsession. I traveled solo weekend in Austin for SXSW girls trip to Santa Fe. No guilt, no explanations. Socially, I rebuilt. Sarah from work became my ride or die. We hosted brunches, hiked at Arbor Hills, laughed about Barbara's pearl clutching. Aunt Linda and grandmother stayed close Thanksgiving at grandmother's now. Barbara, uninvited. She tried one last reconciliation card, showed up at my door with flowers, tears. Emily, can we start over? No, Barbara. Boundaries. She left. No more contact. Jake dated someone, new sweet girl from church. He told me, she's good for me. No drama. A guy from a marketing conference in Houston. The real win. Inner peace. I slept through night snow, anxiety, no dread. I looked in the mirror, stronger, confident, glowing. Two years after the divorce, I stood on my Frisco patio at sunset, watching Luna chase fireflies in the backyard. The house felt truly mine, no echoes of Barbara's voice, no tension in the air, just peace. I had reclaimed it all. My business, Emily Carter Creative, boomed. I hired 2 freelancers, opened a small office in Plano, and landed contracts with big Texas brands, energy firms, tech startups, even a local winery campaign. Income tripled. I paid off the house early, bought a new SUV, my choice, no gifts, and started a college fund for future kids if that ever happened. No rush. I was 28, thriving, and happy alone. Jake and I stayed cordial. He remarried last year, a kind woman from his church group. no drama. We co-parent Luna on weekends, dog custody agreement, Texas style. He apologized fully. You were right about Mom. I should have seen it sooner. I forgave him, not for his sake, but mine. No bitterness left. Barbara. She faded from our lives. After the no-contact order and therapy, she moved to a quiet retirement community in McKinney. Grandmother told me she finally admitted her mistakes in family counseling. She's lonely now, grandmother said. I felt nothing, no revenge, joy, no pity, just indifference. She lost the control she craved. Karma closed the chapter quietly. I kept the support group going at Texas Boundaries on Instagram and a private Facebook community. Thousands of women shared stories. Toxic MILs, controlling in-laws, emotional abuse. I moderated, shared tips, document everything, get a lawyer early. Boundaries aren't rude, they're self-respect. My posts went viral, sometimes women. Diming your story saved me. I felt purpose. Personally, I dated intentionally. Met Ryan at a marketing conference in Austintal. Funny, respects boundaries. No rush, but it felt right. We took things slow. Coffee dates, hikes at Cedar Ridge Preserve, weekend trips to hill country. He met Luna first. She's the real boss, he joked. I laughed, free light. One evening, I walked through the house, room by room. The kitchen where Barbara rearranged my cabinets, Mel, my space, my style. The office where I built my empire. The bedroom where I cried, alone, now peaceful. I whispered to myself, you did this, you survived, you won. To anyone watching who's in the same storm, you're not crazy, you're not overreacting. Toxic control hides behind family love. Record, document, protect your finances. Get professional help, lawyer, therapist. Set boundaries early. You deserve a life without strings. When you walk away, you don't lose, you gain yourself back. Karma doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. You tried to break her. She rebuilt stronger. And that's the sweetest justice. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated, like, comment, subscribe for more real revenge tales where women rise. I'm Emily Carter. And I'm finally home.